We are live, I think, possibly. Coach Blitz, we are blitzing. We are blitzing with Blitch. Dude, I get tongue-tied all the time.
It's a tricky one.
And I'm telling you, tonight, Victory Family Church put on a meal for the kids. What a great job. We listened to Pastor Joey. He shared a nice message. And I think the kids really like the team concept of these meals, Coach.
Yeah, they've been loving it. It's been awesome for us to come in, get some good food. It's a big thing for us where we're at right here is to make sure everybody gets a good meal the night before. You just never know. I mean, kids, you try to have good relationships with them. It's just you never know somebody's going to bed hungry. So it's one thing we guarantee tonight before a big game, they're getting food. We know they get meals at school, breakfast and lunch. You just can't ever be sure about dinner. So it's a good way we can get back. It's wonderful for them to get back to us and make sure we get that done.
Yeah, it's kind of like a road game. St. Benedict's our home for these meals. The next 3 weeks, we're on the road.
Yep.
We're traveling.
Yep.
That's because St. Benedict's has that big carnival coming up on October 5th. It is so much fun. Okay, you've heard me brag about that, Coach Blitch. I'm telling you, my kids grew up at the St. Benedict's Fair and at Granny's Attic. I sit in chairs when everybody's come over that go around the table that came from Granny's Attic.
Yeah.
So solid chairs. They're the kind of office chairs that people just get rid of. Now, talking about office chairs, let's talk about the game. We have Duncan coming in, and you've had a chance to look at film. I've heard a few things, but I want to hear what can we expect from the Duncan offense?
They have a quarterback that's a stud. His name's Sawyer Rice. We knew about him even in the offseason. Outstanding kid. Great athlete, extremely fast. I think I saw something listed as like a 4.5 40 guy. He's got an arm. The film we've seen some of the scrimmage stuff, the games he's had. Like he's going to run that ball and he's going to throw it well. So that's the biggest thing. We got to find a way to slow him down. He's 70% of their total offense, about 40% of their run game, and he's, obviously their entire passing offense. That's the biggest thing for us is, find a way to get to him, get hits on him early, slow him down, make him uncomfortable in that pocket, try to contain him when he gets out running with those legs of his because he's got some wheels. So we can't let him get outside. I mean, he'll go hash numbers sideline in a hurry, and we don't want to be in a trail position, especially if he catches anybody man turning or not in position with their backs to him. Like he'll be gone before you know it. So that's the biggest thing for us this week is find a way to stop the quarterback and then contain. They also got a good running back that's done pretty well the last couple of weeks. So.
Sawyer Rice, that's the name to know for tomorrow night's game. And from a defensive perspective, it's never just one guy. You were about to come in. Yep. I mean, if he's throwing that ball, who's he hitting?
He's got some quality receivers out there, a few speedster guys. They love a little bit of screen game, so we got to be alert of that. They had pretty good success. Bridge Creek hit some screens on them. Cash sat back more in some zone action. Quarterback got to run a little bit more than they probably like in that game. Bridge Creek played them pretty well, but they went to the screen game, had some success with it. That was a close game. I want to say it ended up being I think it was a 13-12, 14-13 ball game there, and Bridge Creek kind of had a bad punt, go over the head. A snap went over the punter's head. They set them back up, punched one in, set them back up on the, I think about the 20-yard line, and they ended up punching in at the very end of the game. Of course, quarterback scrambled outside the pocket, took off running. They do some unique stuff with him. That running back, he's had a 100-yard game or two in the last 3 weeks. Guthrie bottled him up pretty good. We know Guthrie's top-tier 5A program, have been for the last decade plus. So that was a tough matchup for them. But the other two opponents they've had, and even in their scrimmages, they pretty well spreading the ball out a little bit, getting their hands quick, kind of like we do offensively as well with Dace and Ejon, some of those guys. Just throw it out there, get them in space, let them make moves. So they run pretty good rotation with their receivers. Really, it's going to be about that quarterback, slowing down the running back a little bit, but he's the key player for us this week defensively. We've got to stop him.
So when we're talking about stopping the quarterback and we flip it to our defensive side, you've made some adjustments that you can talk about. Some you probably can't. What do you want to tell us about the defense as you get ready for Duncan?
Well, again, we got a couple guys that have come back this week. Obviously, we got Jaden Smith back last week, which is a huge addition. I mean, He ended up 16 tackles last week. Jaden Smith, first game of the year.
He was all over the field, number 16.
Yep.
Great to see his mom get out there. We thank First Onsite for providing, and we have sponsors and things that want to provide meals and tickets if we can. So if you are a teammate or a team member or a family member, let us know, please, down there in the comments. That's pretty cool.
That was an awesome situation. She got to come this year's first game. She got to watch this year, and he had probably the best game of his career so far.
Yeah.
So that was
Jaden was pumped that Mom was going to be there.
Yeah, he was. So he was inside. Again, he's typically more of an edge rusher guy. That may be something we look at tomorrow, is maybe get him off that edge a little bit. We'll have Ryan High back tomorrow night. So that's
a lot of energy.
Thing. Yep, defensive captain's been out. Had some injury stuff, been nursing a lot of guys with injuries. We're still got a few that are still a little banged up. We're going to see how it plays out. We're going to kind of game time decision it tomorrow. As far as adjustment-wise, we got to make sure we match the speed of Duncan. So that's going to be something you'll probably see tomorrow night. Is we'll probably come out some faster players out there at times than we typically would. Part of that's also the attrition game. We got some of our big boys a little banged up, so we got to make do with what we're going to do. So again, me kind of trying to square peg, round hole it. Play the opponent and see what we got going. So we're going to do a few different things tomorrow night, kind of sit in some of our base stuff and get after them. You
would anticipate if the big guys can block up and keep him contained, Ryan and those backers Jaden can really make some hits.
Yeah.
What about on that outside? I mean, I think that's just setting up Dace and Dietrich pretty well too.
Yeah,
right? Don't they play that pretty well?
Yeah, we've got to have a big night from the secondary. That's the biggest thing. Whether it's containing the quarterback on scrambles, if they do that, they run some screen games, got to attack those, deconstruct the blocks. Whether it's contained on the run game, sweep action, quarterback leads, things of that nature. They've got to be sound in their tackling and sound in their coverage, because a lot of the stuff they do is that scramble drill. He takes off running. They do a pretty good job. Their receivers breaking back across field to the ball, high go low, low go high, things of that nature on scramble drills. So we've got to make sure that we don't get lost in the sauce, get our eyes in the backfield, because we know he's the threat when he takes off outside that pocket. We can't get caught up watching, peeking back, see him move, and lose sight of what the objective is for those guys if they're in a coverage situation. They got to stay locked on their guy. A lot of stuff you see on film, he takes off outside the pocket, DBs are covering, they see him flush, they freeze for a second. Oh no, do I need to run up and make sure I get this guy on the ground tackle-wise? He's going to take off, then he throws it over their head. So we've got to be able to do a good job with our front seven guys, keeping that contained. That way he doesn't get into those situations too often. And that way our defensive backs do a good job playing the assignment, which is going to be some of their guys, zone man, whatever we have going on the back end. That's the biggest thing. We got to have a big night again, which I told them, hey guys, we just put it on your backs at Ardmore, defensive line, two inside backers, Nolan Ward and Jaden Smith played outstanding on top of Dace. Dace Shaw had one of the better games I've seen in a long time. 20 tackles from safety spot, moving around back there against that flex bone. But we've got to be sound in that, but our defensive line's got to generate pressure. And if we do flush him, it can't be just solely interior pressure. We've got to keep that contained with those edge players because he's fast. I mean, that's the biggest thing. As fast as he looks on film, we may only have a couple guys. So if he gets on a straight line, they're going to be able to run him down. So we've got to make sure we bottle him up and we rally to the ball at everything we do.
So when he's rolling out there, I mean, that's one of our strengths is the speed of our linebackers. And you're telling us that the secondary's primary job then is to stay with those receivers unless he breaks that line of scrimmage.
Yeah, we've seen too many times on film when he breaks out, when they have teams that they'll play up and they'll peel off, he'll just throw over top of them. He's got a good enough arm to do that. So we've got to just make sure everyone does their job. So, assignment sound football.
He is a quarterback first.
Yeah, he's a quarterback first. He's got an arm. He can run, he's got wheels on him, but he can sling it. So he can put the ball where those guys are going to go get it. He can stretch the field, arm strength, put it on good spots, inside, outside. So it'll be an interesting matchup, see how we handle with that defensive line, see what that front looks like we come out with, and see what the matchups we have in position for tomorrow night, how they pan out for us.
Well, and I know you watch film, you don't put together our offense. You kind of shy away from even talking about that, but I know you know their defense. Tell us what Duncan's defense is going to look like and what they're going to be trying to do in your guess to our offense.
A little bit of a hybrid front, kind of like we do. They do a 30 or 40 front, 3 down guys, 4 down guys. They're kind of similar a little bit to Guthrie, PCN, that 21. They got some undersized guys that they're not big bodies, wide bodies, but they're big bodies with speed. They're fast, so they're gonna probably shoot some gaps. They'll put 3 down across, 3 down, 4 down. Every now and then bring 5-man pressure, man up on the back end some. A little bit of quarters coverage, a little bit of man from what I've seen. backers, athletic. Like, they're very athletic defense. Like, I think from what I've seen, there's one big boy who'll go out there a little bit, but majority of the time, like, they're going to have what are like our defensive end types, across the line out there, bringing speed. So that'll be something for us to, counter. We're going to have, I think, more size than they do, but they're going to have more speed across that front. Because, like I said, it's guys like Jaden Smith and Toby Gray on our defense is like their D-line. So, like, they're 220 pounds, 215 across the D-line, quick, first step, quick twitch. So.
Well, there for a second, you had me like really concerned because you brought up PCN's defensive line, and they seemed to dominate in that first game. But correct me if I'm wrong, PCN guys weren't 220; they were 260.
Yeah, there were some big boys. I know that 21 at PCN was an animal.
There were a couple animals.
Yeah. No, I think we've done a really good job, and Coach Madonna, especially on the offense side of the ball, practiced the last few weeks, really tighten up that O-line, kind of get them going. Like I said, kind of been makeshift at times. Like I said, we started off, the injuries we had going into the season, nothing ideal. So been kind of plugging and playing a lot, and I think we're finally getting more of that cohesion, getting some guys healthier, getting guys back, kind of solidifying where we're at with it. So I think it's going to be pretty solid.
Well, I really liked what I saw with the offense this week, and Demery Hodges stepping up at tight end for us.
Yeah, Demery had a good night. I thought Dawson McDaniel had some wonderful blocks out there on the perimeter, really sealing those backers down, crack blocking down, popping the edge for Dietrich to get outside. O-line did an awesome job. Z had plenty of time back there in the pocket. Ejon had some big plays, and then really, Deech and Dace. I mean, they had a heck of a night. I mean, I think Dietrich had 200 yards rushing. Deech had 200 yards rushing, and then Dace had 300 yards total on the game, 4 touchdowns. And so, I mean, it was a 1-2 punch. Thunder and lightning. It was tough for them to slow them down. So I think that was a huge night for them. It was a great confidence builder for them, and just really put it all together with, like I said, more solidified offensive line.
And what I love about that is they're both thunder and lightning. So it's like we got thunder and lightning twice. I mean, their packages, the way in which they approach the line, they're just hard to bring down. Both of those guys are very hard.
Right, it's hard to tackle them one-on-one open field. They got to rally to the ball. So, like I said, Coach McDonald's did an awesome job. Just last week, you saw him moving those guys around a lot, so it's hard to get a bead for them. So if you planned on doubling them, you try to maybe bracket coverage and have some zone action, whether it be cover 3 around them or whatnot. When they start flying around moving, that's going to change what you do. Like, you're going to have to roll, you're going to have to flow, bump coverage, things like that. Like, it's just hard with that motion offense he's running to really kind of zero in one of those players. Then you got 2 of them out there at the same time. He's kind of pick your poison for a defense. You got to figure out which one. But
well, and a big step forward for Zyron Campbell from game 1 compared to game 2.
Yeah, he had an awesome job. He got out there, got some easy throws, got some confidence, settled in that pocket. I think that was a big thing. O-line was awesome. So he had a lot more confidence and felt that comfort in that pocket to sit back there, getting his 3, 5, and 7-step drops. He's working the pocket, climbing it, getting the balls off there. It wasn't sporadic. He didn't feel that off the get over there. So I think he settled in early. That run game was us. I mean, we had over 300 yards rushing as a team. I mean, so when you've got that going, it really eases up the job of a quarterback. He can kind of occasional play action, sit back there. They're worried, biting up on the run game. So when you do that, you get some leakers, crossers, quick screens, throwing that out there, just making guys make work in space. Nothing's better than throwing a 2-yard pass and it goes 40 yards to the house for a touchdown. That's a wonderful stat to have right there.
That is always fun to watch.
It still goes a 42-yard passing touchdown. So
Duncan coming in Friday night. It's going to be a fun game. Coach Mike Blitch, thank you very much again. Shout out to Pastor Corey and all the people of Victory Family Church. What a great job. All the kids enjoyed it. And we always enjoy bringing these to you as well. It is Blitzin with Blitch, and this is Coach Mike Blitch.
Thank you.
See you guys. Together we build community, one season at a time. We've been saying that a lot.